is history, the future mystery. This moment is the gift.
Welcome, Miracle Makers. It's Dr. Sarah Larsen in UBN Studios. This show is the show that you want to listen to if you want to heal all of your relationships. The most important thing that you can fully recognize is you are the common denominator of every experience that you've ever had. Your family relationships, your friendships, your work. Miracle Makers, you are always there. If something is not working or if something is working, the most amazing thing that you can recognize and do and become part of is the experience of knowing yourself. I think it was Socrates that said, an unexamined life is not worth living. And when you examine your life, science will show you, everything will tell you, the earliest experiences that you had is what shaped you, what makes you, you, and the way that you interact, engage. You are a system within yourself. You, the way that you respond, that system that you are was formed by you and your family relations, by the early years. And when you know that you have a choice in the matter to act differently, you can act differently. But with family, much of the challenges and difficulties started before we had the age of reason. And so you became part of every experience that you attracted into your life or brought in is an attempt to realign with your own true nature versus the systems that you adapted as a way to cope or a way to excel in the area that you are in. So I formulated systems, I formulated behaviors, I formulated beliefs in order to feel loved and appreciated and safe with my family. And those coping or acceleration mechanisms, those ways of being continued into going to medical school, into working with non-government organizations, into this marriage, and the non-profit work that I do. All the transformation that happens within Miracle Makers Academy is because you begin examining your life and you get insights on yourself. This, whenever you're meeting with family, whenever you're meeting with people that you see on a regular basis and you expect them to be the same way over and over again. So I have a teenage daughter and a 12-year-old son. And so when I say that and you're like, people are like, oh my God, you've got a teenager at home. I'm so sorry, right? We already think of teenagers as being a particular way. And we remember ourselves as teenagers and all of the way that the world was looking at us when we were teenagers. Well, if I go into a conversation with my teenage daughter, already expecting and knowing that she's a teenager, that I'm not actively listening. I'm not actively available. I'm taking a past that existed and superimposing it on the current moment. And much of your past, much of the pain, much of the trauma that existed in your life stemmed from your early relationships with your family. It's so important to fully understand you are a system. You believe things about yourself. You believe things about our world and about our environment. It's such a beautiful thing for you to really, truly know that you can change at any given moment. And because you change, every one of your relationships transforms. Every one of them starts being able to be what they want to be for you, what they want to be for themselves. It's such a beautiful thing. Family isn't only defined by last names, and it isn't only defined by blood. It is truly defined by what you're committed to and by what you love. My husband loves the Golden Gophers, and he loves the Vikings, and he loves being in Los Angeles, and he loves and he's committed to our neighborhood. He's committed to the sports teams that our son and daughter are on. So that's part of our family. It's so beautiful to really get. Your family is not just who you define by blood or last names. And we humans are the only ones that can, with our seed, with our thoughts, with our values, can create family. Everywhere you're going, you are creating an interaction. You're creating, and whatever you're committed to, whatever you love, is part of your family by definition, based on how much attention and time you're giving to it in your thoughts. So you might not have seen someone for 20 years, but if they're constantly in your thoughts, there's a commitment in you. There's love, even if it's angry thoughts about this person, and you're running your scenario over and over again about this person. It's quite extraordinary what you're thinking about, and I call it thoughting. Sometimes I will say, oh my God, Greg, I was thoughting all day. There I went. I was just thoughting and thoughting all over myself. It's such a funny thing to say, but our thoughts either bring us closer connection to our heart, being able to hear our heart, or our thoughts distract us from the current moment. You go far enough forward, and every single person you meet can possibly be your family, from your offsprings, from your cousins. Every single person can be your family 1,000 years into the future. You go 1,000, 5,000 years in the past, we know we were all family. At some degree, our genetics now is showing us, oh, you belong to this country, to this region, to this family, nation. We're all related. You go far enough forward, far enough back. It's an extraordinary thing to really get. And this segment, this part, to really be, you are able to heal everything that you put your mind, your heart, your attention to, because you are you. When you understand you, the system of you, and you bring it into the present moment, it's so extraordinary what will show up for you. And I love the thermodynamic laws of Newton. And when we apply that to ourselves, if a body in motion stays in motion and move in that direction infinitely. Same thing, a body that's at rest will stay at rest infinitely unless a outside force works on it. Unless there's an outside force that comes in and can show you from in a way that you can understand you. Your family, your relationships, everything's going to continue just the way it is. For you to shift, for you to change, you've got to get perfectly still and understand it's going to take a force. It's going to take something for you to transform. And for some people, that transformation comes from interacting and connecting with a community, a tribe. For some people, that comes from being of service. When my grandmother passed on, when she transitioned, I decided to do 1,000 readings in her honor. Because when she passed, I wasn't brave enough to ask for the help I needed, to be able to do all the things that I wanted to do. After she passed, I wanted what was her message, what she had taught me to move forward. So even though I was stopped, her death became the force in my life that changed me. I committed to doing 1,000 readings in her honor. And out of those 1,000 readings, I wound up healing. The force changed me to be able to accomplish and do the things that I want to be doing. Right now, I'm sitting in my favorite studio in Hollywood. Of course, we're going to Sunset Gower Studios. We're Gone with the Wind was shot. We're all of these extraordinary movies that I watched growing up. I wasn't brave enough when my grandmother passed away to give myself the opportunities. In service, that great force, I got to recognize things about myself. That commitment to do 1,000 readings brought in the healing. It's so, so beautiful to really, really acknowledge that you are where you are. It's fun to think about this. If I want to go from here to my hometown where my family is, New Orleans, I've got to fully recognize that I'm in Los Angeles. To be able to make the destination to New Orleans. If you don't know where you are, and that's so many of us in our relationships have said, oh, it is this, if they were different, then I could be okay. If my mom, my dad, my cousin, my next door neighbor shows up differently, I can be okay. And the only thing that you have control of is yourself and what you're committed to and what you love. Love, when it's a verb, love as a verb means you show up and contribute. And you give your attention and your intention to that. It's such a gift. What you're committed to and what you love. We have 2 sweet little doggies in our home, Angel and Teddy. We're committed to them because they're in our home and our kids love them. But if we didn't love them as a verb, give them food, give them water, take care of them, take them for walks, the commitment would mean nothing. This commitment, really notice where your thoughts are. If you get, oh my gosh, I just spent 45 minutes thinking about an ex, or 45 minutes thinking about that friend that I haven't called in 20 years because we got into a fight. Or if you've spent an endless amount of time getting a gift for someone because you're worried that they're not going to like it. There needs to be a conversation there to actively show, listen, I love you so much. That person that you spent a day and a half searching for the perfect gift for, I love you so much. I'm so committed to you. I spent a day and a half shopping for this for you. It takes vulnerability to be able to share that. And that friend, that person, that family member may be able to listen to you differently because you authentically shared what was going on for you. Oh gosh, I'm so excited to bring on we've got in studio one of the cutest, most darling, sweetest, smartest, I'm seeing if I can make eye contact with my darling husband, who is in studio with us here at Sunset Gower Studios at UBN. Baby, are you ready to come on live with us?
Of course, my love. Yes,
Yay.
always.
In the house is Greg Larsen. Woohoo!
Hello, miracle makers.
I am so glad that you're here. When I met you and I met your family, I could feel their commitment, their love. Your mom was the verb love. She was love in action, meaning she was constantly bringing gifts, constantly looking for more ways to spend time, especially with you. She was all the words of affirmation and appreciation. It was so beautiful to experience that. Do you want to just talk about what family means to you and what this topic that we're on?
Yeah, well, the topic came about really because last night we attended Landmark
Yes.
Education, a phenomenal organization. Sarah's taking a class there now.
And Greg and I have made a commitment that every year that we would do something for our marriage, some class or some course or and over the years we take workshops to constantly improve the tools to help our relationship work.
That's right.
Yes.
So last night we attended Landmark, and as they say, they have trainings all over the world. They've trained people. Over 3 million people have gone through the Landmark Forum, which we did many years ago, back in 2004. And one of the most biggest shifts that people receive from that experience is you're typically calling a family member, mostly a parent, and having a quick conversation with them to say, wow, I see you so differently now.
Yes.
It's not you that needs to change, it's me. And I've been holding these grudges or resentments against you, but you're just being you.
Yes.
And so I see that now, and I want to apologize for all these years I've resented you because it had nothing to do with you, it was me. And so, like they say, that 5-minute conversation can radically change your life.
Can erase your past.
Yeah, can erase that past,
It's
those years
so
of grudges. And I went through a similar situation with my dad, and we had an experience, and it was like, wow, my dad doesn't need to change. That's how he loves me.
Yes.
This is how he expresses his love, is
Yes.
doing this. If I'm agitated by it, that's my problem, not his. And so I needed to heal that, which I did. And now I have such a fantastic relation with my dad because I chose to consciously change how I listen to him.
Yes,
Yeah.
that whole process. It's so beautiful. And so this topic and the healing the bloodlines, and I love to be as big and as vast as possible because I really do see us as a human family. Again, you go far enough forward, we're all related. Our kids, our grandkids, our great-great-grandkids will all intermarry. We'll all be connected. You go far enough back, we're all family as well in our genetics, in our blood. And you look at scientific research, and our bodies transform based on the ones that we're spending time with. We become like our bosses, like school teachers, wherever we're spending the most amount of time. We become that in our biology. Mirror neurons come in. And so we all become either expanded together or we all shrink together. We either all become more free together. And the way that you become free is really to understand yourself. Greg, with his understanding with his dad, you sang the song to your dad. And your dad came out to Nashville and saw you in Nashville. Greg wrote a song for his dad called Better Friends. I just want to be better friends. It's a beautiful song on YouTube, available on YouTube, a beautiful book that he wrote for his dad, Better Friends, How to Be Better Friends with Your Dad. Extraordinary book, extraordinary music. And from writing that, his dad could come spend time with him. And Greg got the discovery, the insight it was him all along. It was his thoughts, his way of thinking. And it's such a beautiful gift to give yourself. Whoever you consider family, humans are the only ones that actively go down and write on a piece of paper, we are now family. We adopt each other. We go through these processes to really great lengths to make ourselves a family. And these great lengths that we went through are really designed for us to know what we're committed to know what we love. And if you are having thoughts about someone or something, if you're thoughting about someone and you don't want to be thoughting about them, you've got to get a force in your life that helps you let go of the past. That's what we do at Miracle Makers Academy. Here is a tribe of people, a tribe of well-accomplished, dedicated to making humanity better people, dedicated to making miracles happen for themselves. They work on and know themselves so that they can show up powerfully for their families. When I didn't love myself the way that I love myself now, someone would say something across a room or laugh, and I thought they were laughing at me or saying something about me. When I didn't choose me, when I didn't love me, everything out there, no one could really say anything to me that would land well with me. When I began the process of self-discovery, self-love, and when I dedicated that self-love and that commitment to making everyone's life better, empowered, that's when it really, really showed up. Baby, anything you want to add to this conversation or what's happening on social media before we jump on phone calls?
We have Shishi O'Donnell, our beautiful friend, watching. Charlie is watching.
We're so glad you're watching. So glad
Lee,
you're with us.
Aaron.
Welcome,
so people just
Lee.
been saying hi. And
hi.
But if people are watching, if you want to comment, how is your family relations, and does this time of year, does it trigger, the past in you? Is there something that happened in childhood or something that happened in your relationship with your mom and dad specifically that creates anxiety or agitation, and does that need to be there still? Can you heal that?
Can you heal that?
Yeah.
Are there stories that you want to share that you really healed in terms of not just with your dad, but other relationships that were really family relationships, but not last name or same blood? So for me, a lot of everyone to me comes across as family. As a student of the Course in Miracles, and really the Course in Miracles emphasizes not to have special relationships, that all relationships, all children, or all people are your children. All people are your brothers and sisters. All people it's all about learning to play together again. And anytime you make a relationship special, it causes you to have expectations within them that causes you pain. And so although Greg and I are happily married and our kids very, very special, but the love, the holy relationships that we have with everyone else. And what I mean by that is every child, hopefully, our goal is to love as if we loved the same way we love our children. Each man and woman and person that enters our life, to give them as much respect as we would give our fathers, brothers, sisters, mothers. And so it's such a huge goal, truly, truly, but that's living that commitment that everyone in the past and everyone in the future is your family. To give to them, to share with them, to be transparent with them, to dedicate the best way of connecting with them in the present moment, to give as much respect. Anything you want to add to that before we go to?
I understand it. I get that. But when I look back at all my life and all the friends I've made and all the places I've lived around the world, really, it's like they are family in that time. But like in Nashville, I had lots of close friends, and I would consider family. We shared bread, broke bread together, did all kinds of stuff. But when I moved to LA, then people in LA became my family.
Yes.
Whereas my mom and dad, no matter where I've lived in the world, and no matter the families I've made out of other people, my mom and dad are still my mom and dad. So there's something
you
very
only get one set.
Yeah, there's something
of,
very special
yeah.
with that. Yeah.
There's,
and not that if I went back to Nashville and we gathered the people, it'd be just like, oh my God, it was just like you were here last week. It would be, that's how it'd feel.
Yes.
But, and so that's definitely that can be family, but there's, your ancestral parents or
Right.
your birth parents or your parents who raised you, whether it's that they adopted you even from a young age, they will be your parents. And there's that dynamic that's there.
I think this is so important. Thank you for bringing this up, because whatever you learned with your family, and in our marriage vows, in our commitment, we have to take care of my mom and dad, or Greg's mom and dad, should they ever need that. And luckily we were able to do that with Greg's mom, to really be there before she transitioned, before we passed. You as an individual are a system. You with your birth family are a system. The more you understand and can co-create with the systems that you're already part of, the more you can give to the whole world. I just love spending time with my mom and dad. I just love but it's such an important relationship. Same thing with the kids, because understanding systems, there are no accidents. Everything is a miracle. And it's a miracle that you were birthed 1 in 400 billion chances that you would be born into the family that you're born into, in the region that you're born. Like, 1 in 400. No, I didn't say it's trillion. It's trillion.
Trillion.
I was stopped at billion. It's trillion. 1 in 400 trillion chances that you would be born to the family that you're born to, in the place that you're born, at the time that you're born. You are unique. Your family is special in that sense. And the more you can organize your thinking and your heart around that, the more that you can contribute to everything in your world and in your life. If you haven't made peace with the past, a piece of you, the peace of mind piece, is with you there. When you make peace with the past, you get pieces of yourself back and you have peace of mind. The universe is a system. It's so beautiful. Like when you really, really get it, everything is a system. And what your thoughts and how your heart and your body and your thinking connect is a system. And unless you get really clear on who you are, examine your life, and understand your own system. And much of trauma can be passed down. Much of the thinking that's not healthy. 98% of all illness comes from stress. Only 2% is genetic. In other words, the thinking, the thoughts, the beliefs, the stressors get passed down. And it takes a force much greater than what was the law of thermodynamics to change the trajectory, to change the motion, to change how it's going and where it's going for you. It's really, really beautiful. Thank you, baby, for coming in.
Yes, my love.
Oh, it's so, so lovely. And Tony, our other dynamite producer in studio with us, we are ready to take calls. 805, you're on the call with us. 805, welcome.
Oh, my gosh. I just want to say thank you so very much for your prayers. And my daughter just called me, and they're going to do an MRI now before he leaves the hospital,
and so,
because they didn't find anything.
I'm so grateful that
I'm
you
just
called
wondering,
in.
What's that?
I'm so grateful that you called in. As soon as you sent me a text yesterday, we started doing some energy work and some prayer work. And so I'd love for you to share the story so other people can really do the energy work and the prayer work and the healing work with you as well.
Oh, you want me to tell the story?
Anything that you want to share about what you're experiencing and what your family's experiencing, your son-in-law, that sort of thing.
Well, my son-in-law had a birthday Monday, and he had severe headaches before that 3 times with intense pain just a few days before his birthday. And we were very concerned about it. So he went to the hospital, and they said that they could not give him an MRI. It had to be within 48 hours. And then 48 hours, I think he went on his birthday Monday. And the 48 hours, they still didn't do the MRI. They said it'd have to be extended. And so then that was into Wednesday. And my daughter calls me Wednesday morning that my son-in-law could not walk, and he was experiencing electrical stuff through his body, and his boss had to literally carry him and put him in the car and take him to the hospital. And my son-in-law is a very active person that engages in sports and all of that, and has a very strong body and all of this stuff. So anyway, so he goes... my daughter calls me and says that she's on her way to the hospital, and his hands were contracted. He had no control over it. So at the hospital, I can't even think straight right now. They were going to give him a CAT scan. So they finally gave him a CAT scan, and he was sure he was going to die because his body was so off. He had never, ever felt like this before. And so they gave him a CAT scan, and they said one of the arteries to the brain was very small in diameter, way, way smaller than normal. And so he was referred to a neurologist, and he got the top neurologist in our area. So the neurologist said that they'd probably have to do a stent from that artery to the brain. So he was in ICU all day, all night yesterday, and they wouldn't let my daughter stay in ICU. And I've been taking care of the kids during this stuff. And so last night he had 2 nurses, and they would wake him up every hour on the hour to make sure he was still functioning. And so I called Dr. Stair. I didn't call you. I texted you for prayer work and any energy work that you could do on him. And I alerted many people that I knew who were prayer warriors and all of this. And we had a huge group praying for his survival because we didn't even know if he would survive. And so there was just a lot of prayer work. And this morning they said that they would not do the stent until they did angiogram, putting the dye in him to check out everything in his brain. So that was a 20-minute procedure, and my daughter calls me after that and tells me that they found nothing, that all the arteries were normal. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is a true miracle. The artery expanded to normal size, and he will not have those headaches again. And then my daughter just called again while you were giving your talk, and she said that they were just going to release him to go home, and now they said that they want to do, what's the other one?
MRI.
Imaging.
Yes. Did you say MRI, the magnetic?
MRI.
Yes.
Now they're going to do the MRI. So they may be tied up until 8 o'clock tonight to get that procedure done. And I am thrilled because having come so close to death, and my daughter read on the internet last night that all the symptoms he had were tied into having artery that's smaller going to the brain. So then they told her after this angiogram that maybe he was just spasming, and they couldn't figure out the cause. So now they're going to do an MRI, which is going to be wonderful, and we'll know. But I'm thinking, my question was this truly a miracle? Is he free now of this situation?
It's really beautiful because keeping the energy work going and the prayers going and all of that is really, really helpful. It reminds me of when Greg's mom was in the hospital and they said, oh my gosh, this is it. She's not going to make it. She's not going to wake up again. And my girlfriend Shishi and Sochil and all of us organized a healing prayer, a healing circle for her. And literally a nurse walked in and looked at her chart and said, oh my God, we gave her too much medication, and reversed the medication that she was on. And she woke up and came back to consciousness. And the Institute of Noetic Sciences has what they call spontaneous remission. And the greatest gift is enough energy work done. If my child was stuck under a car and I had no thought involved in it, if I just knew I had to do it, I could lift the car. There was no belief system to stop it. It's called hysterical strength. We're all connected in the energy field. Spontaneous remissions happen all the time. And literally they have 1 million that they have documented, the diagrams, the charts from medicine to independently verify this person had a disease or discomfort or something that was medically diagnosable and labeled, and then they had spontaneous remission. So that spontaneous remission, totally, completely, utterly possible, keeping the energy work going, keeping the prayers going. But for the person, in China, when you go to a healer, you leave a better person. Part of the language of healing and medicine in the old world is you become better than you were before, and thus your body heals. And so some dysfunctional thought or some dysfunctional belief in his body created stress, created the spasm, created this headache, right? Headache.
Wow.
And the energy work, the love, the commitment of everyone involved helps spontaneously remiss this. For him to stay in that spontaneous remission moving forward, he's got to become the better version, the healed self and whole, the piece of him that was trying to communicate through these symptoms. The soul is always communicating with the body. The body is producing symptoms. Those symptoms will not return if he gets the part that his soul and his body was trying to communicate.
Oh, how can I help with this? Because he doesn't believe any of this stuff.
Right.
I mean, he is.
You don't have to believe. It's like gravity. I don't have to believe in gravity, but gravity holds me to the earth. So the work that's done is, again, knowing thyself. And from the outside in, when Greg and I first got married, it was so hard sometimes for Greg to give me feedback or for me to give him feedback. And when I learned to ask him great questions that had him pondering, it created a simplicity in our marriage that he could start looking at himself, asking your son-in-law great and empowering questions without going all spiritual and woo-woo. You're quite a healer yourself. You're quite connected to a community. You sit quietly for 20 minutes and you connect your heart to your soul, to our one soul, and you can hear sort of the questions that you need to ask to help him go one step forward in becoming who the energy that we're here to be. This is so important to fully get this. The Indians believe that the Vedas and the walls in Egypt show us that there's at least 9 different times that we will leave our bodies. We can no longer have a body if our soul is not on the mission that it's supposed to be on. So sudden infant death syndrome, the first year of life, no cause for it. But kids that are not children before the 365 days, if their soul says, oh, we can't go with this family, with this direction, and the desire of our soul, they check out. People have car accidents. They have sort of near mishaps because their soul is checking in to see if the commitment and the love for what that person is here joyfully to accomplish. Have they reestablished their nature to their actual nature? If the soul gets no, the soul can check out. Did that make sense?
Well, it does. I know he hates his job. I mean, they just love him, but he hates his job. And he is the breadwinner right now for his family. So
So you're already getting, right? You're getting the info. You're getting the insights. It's a headache for him to be at work. The symptom produced itself at work to the maximum degree. and it's called hysterical paralysis. So the opposite of hysterical strength is hysterical paralysis. And already 2 people in my work with miracle makers, they came in and their body wasn't able to move. They weren't able to move their toes. Everything showed that they were fine. There was nothing physically wrong with them. No test could show something wrong. We cleaned up the way their heart connected to their mind, and the blood flowed back into their toes and into their entire biology for them to be able to move again. Spontaneous strength, spontaneous paralysis, spontaneous remissions. Modern science is catching up with us, but you already know you're able to do the energy work on him through commitment and love, and ultimately him feeling supported to leave his job will be that ultimate gift for him to continue life, his soul purpose, his soul peace.
That's such a hard one because my daughter is just now getting her teaching degree. It'll take her 2 years, and she would have to give that up because if he leaves that job, then she can't continue with her part.
And this is the part of it's huge because you need someone outside. They need someone outside themselves to see how it can be done. God doesn't put a natural desire in your body or in your heart without the possibility of accomplishing it. Limited thinking or being afraid keeps us from really being able to create all the options. And I would say you're in Miracle Makers Academy. How many things have opened up for you because that you thought were impossible that have now come to possibility for you?
Well, I would say a lot has opened up because I am finally at this late date actually doing deep work of healing my own system so that I will be able to help other people. But it's given me the tools to really start doing that very, very deep work and succeeding at it.
And so you're still living the same life, right? Only much better and more possibilities.
Much better.
Yes.
Much better.
And so thank you.
Much better able to, because you give the practical information, especially on relating to people, then it's very, very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we love you.
But I don't want to take up your time because I know you have other people that want to get on
and your son-in-law is in our thoughts, and we're so excited for you to still continue to listen as we go on to the next caller. You'll be in completely our prayers, and keep us posted.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
His name is Greg, by the way, and thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Bless you. We're sending a shout out to Greg. Yeah. Thank you so much. Tony, let's take, 310. Welcome. It's Dr. Sarah Larsen. Hi. 310. Your last numbers end in 52. 310, you're on live with us. Welcome, caller. Hi. You're not muted on our end, so we're going to return you to the queue unless you can say hello really quickly. All right, next caller. Welcome. 424, it's Dr. Sarah Larsen. Can you hear us?
Hi, Dr.
Hi.
Yes, can you hear to me?
We can hear you. What's your name?
Hi, Laura Fethick.
Hi, Laura. So glad you called in. What can we answer for you?
Well, I was just wondering what actions I can be in to positively move forward. So kind of just a general question, I guess.
It's so interesting because when I tap into your field, there's like an energy of body art or body work or being seen that comes up for you? What's in terms of physical appearance and physical stuff? Have you been hiding yourself and now you're ready to come out? Or is there a shift?
I think I'm still ready to hide myself.
You're-
I'm so changed in my physicality that I want to hide.
That you want to hide. And so this is
Yeah.
the change that has to come forward for you is you've got to go and you've got to get stuff physically on you that helps you feel beautiful and empowered, and you've got to take pictures and you've got to see yourself, and this will help you move forward in every area of your life. This getting beautiful pictures and beautiful things on you to be able to see you. You being able to see you. This is a huge, that the hiding out desire will never go away. But once you start seeing yourself in this form, it'll make it easier because your mind will automatically start thinking, wow, it's not that bad. It's not awful. It's okay. And you being able to see yourself will make it easier for everyone that you're interacting with to give to you because you're seeing yourself. And that's what you require right now is other people being able to see you and give to you.
Oh, that's great. Wow. I'm scared, but it sounds good.
Will you take pictures and will you let us know what happened for you? Will you call back in?
Yes, I sure will. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
A happy holiday. So I'd love for you to get it done really fast, like within a week. I'd love for you to get by next week, and that energy, this holiday season, this time of year, the seeds will sprout. Your 2019 and all the years going forward will really, really sprout because you're doing this right now.
Okay. Any advice on where to get this done?
So we need to make a resource page probably for the photographers that we use and that sort of stuff on Dr. Sarah Larsen. There is a great, if you reach out within the Academy, Miracle Makers Academy, we're going to create a resource page, and especially for photographers. We'll send you the ones that we've used for our events. And they're really lovely miracle makers. There's a few photographers within the Academy. Did that make sense? That are amazing.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So reach out in the Academy at miraclemakers.com in the comment section, and we'll connect you with at least 2 great photographers within Miracle Makers.
Okay, that's great. Thanks so much, Dr. Sarah.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for calling, Laura. Welcome, welcome. Do we have time for, we've got time for more. Hi, welcome, 323. Oh, 808. 808, that's you. Yes, hello. How are you? Hi.
Hi. I just have some allergy issues going on right now. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. What's your name?
My name is Iris.
Iris, we're so glad you're here. What can we answer for you?
I wanted to know if my father-in-law has what's going on with him and his soul. He did pass several years ago around this time, and I just wanted to know if he was able to cross over.
He was able to cross over. It's so interesting because a lot of work was done. What he's sharing is he rode in. It was like he rode into heaven.
Okay.
So that's he had a great deal of pain before he transitioned. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit? Because it will, and again, he's saying he rode into heaven. He rode into the light, and he rode into this, he wanted to give so much to so many people. And towards the end, when he got into pain, it became so hard for him. And he said he was squeezing hands.
Huh. Okay.
So do you feel him sometimes just on your hand?
My hand, no. I really haven't felt him at all. I do think about him and wonder what's going on because, he was my father-in-law, so I would think that my husband would feel him, or have any dreams, and my husband hasn't, as far as I know, felt or dreamt about him at all. Because his passing was pretty sudden, and and it was not expected at all. Because he did have some, issues of what was going on. But like I said, it was just sudden, so it caught everybody by surprise. And I know my husband hadn't spoken with him for quite some time before that. So, I just didn't know if how he makes himself present where my husband doesn't see it, or my husband's not noticing.
Yeah, and I think it's hard because your husband didn't talk a whole lot emotionally around this stuff. And his dad didn't either. And I think that's, there's a great deal of emotions within the family that are still a little bit stuck around this.
Okay.
And the way to help move this as the wife and as the daughter-in-law is to really create something. And I love how every year, right around the November 1st, All Saints Day, there's a remembrance of saints. And I feel like, or a remembrance of old souls that transitioned, and to really create, and especially for so many people within the family don't know how to talk about it. And to create something that is an honoring, so that as others are transitioning, there's the possibility of talking about and honoring not only your father-in-law, but all the other people that transitioned as well. So what I'd love for you to do is really sort of all the people that you're with, that you're getting together with, to say next year around, when was your father-in-law's birthday?
I believe it was November 5th.
November 5th. So it gives you a time to say by his birthday next year, let's create something to really honor him. And whether it's a photo album and everybody getting together and talking about the favorite pictures, or it will help your husband to really, really process a lot of the stuff that wasn't processed, and acknowledge a lot of the stuff that still needs to be acknowledged. And it will help everyone transition. The people that feel loved ones transition or pass on tend to be able to sense a lot of things. They can sense like a change in the weather. They can sense that someone's mad at them. They can sense someone's looking at them from behind. Have you ever had the sense you're sitting in your car and you look over and the person right next to you is looking at you? You're like, oh, hello. You're in traffic and they were looking at you and something told you to turn. And
Yes.
This will help the entire family grow sensitive to be able to sense him more. Just the action of saying, let's put something together to honor him by November 6th and to celebrate him on this day will make everyone more sensitive to him.
Okay. And, it was funny because I did contact his wife, which would have been my husband's stepmom, to gather some old photos of when he was in the service. She didn't reply back to me, so I don't know if she's going to send me any of those photos. But I do remember them sharing, his photos of when he was in the service. And there was a few that actually kind of looked more like my husband. Where I could see a lot of similarities with the face. But she never did get back to me, so who knows if she'll send me anything.
And to say something like, we want to honor him November 6th, and so there's a date and a deadline, that might make it easier. Okay. And to really express it from that space, we want to leave a legacy going forward. Something that we can do around November 6th every year for him.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the other question was, I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but he had told my sister-in-law that it was a possibility that he would have had a child when he was stationed overseas. And I'm just wondering if that still rings true, and how would we find their sibling?
And so this is what's really beautiful is, so I do feel like there is another child, and I do feel that if you do the genetic testing, that will help, because on the other end, there is some searching going on as well. And genetic testing, the 23andMe and Ancestry.com, all of that really beautifully tells you have a cousin, or you have and other people that have taken the test. You can open up your genetics to say, yes, you want to connect with others that you might be related to. And so start with that. The brother or sister might already be in the system.
Okay. You know what? And that's funny, because I was thinking that the same thing, that maybe, I should get that for my husband, for Christmas, just so he can get the ball rolling without me exactly saying
that. Yes.
What's going on. But
yes. And I think that's a great idea. Do it for yourself as well. You'll love discovering more about yourself. Give it to your husband. Discover yourself as well. You'll see that you probably... Yeah, go ahead.
He had purchased that for me already, so I found it very interesting, and how I have like 700 third and fourth cousins.
Yes. Isn't that amazing? And if it's open, it will, every time someone gets tested, you'll be able to relate more to family and get the updates.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you for calling. So glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Bye for now. So it's so fun to see people in their energy form. When people transition, they are all love, and they remember, and this is from someone, I had near-death experiences, several of them, from age 14 to 19. And in those near-death experiences, I could always feel what everyone around me was feeling and understand what they were understanding from God or from source or oneness perspective. And so when everyone transitions, they do get this life review. You get a life review. And the review of your life is, for example, here in this room, it would be how Tony, our producer, saw this, how Greg saw me, how all three of us experienced this current moment, along with aspects that I'm not even aware of at this moment, the maintenance people in the building or the electricity or all of that. I would have a full understanding. of my life from all perspectives and points of view. So your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, your beloved brother or sister, child knows how much you actually love them, knows what your thoughts were and how the misunderstandings happened. I understood that every time I went into that near-death experience and my life was under review. Coming back, I would have a higher understanding or a higher perspective. And it's part of the reason I am a miracle maker so actively. It'd be so beautiful if we could communicate and feel that right now all the time. And so, baby, thank you for being on the show with me.
You're so welcome, my love. I love this time together.
Yes, me too. Yay. Thank you, miracle makers. We'll see you
thank
again
you.
soon. Bye for now.
The past is history.